morning. Welcome to Business Breakfast. My name is Ben Barber.
And I'm Lori Jatari. It's hard to hear you, Ben, so I was just a little hesitant.
Oh, no.
There we go. Yep. Now
Hello.
I hear you. Yeah. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm yes. All
What's your
right.
name,
I did not check my mic before we started, and that is on me.
Isn't that what producers are supposed to do? Like check.
I'm so all right, listen. This is the problem. Is that I'm focused on doing the things for the other for everybody else, for clients, for whatever, and then I don't so I haven't been on a show since Friday myself talking, and because of that, right, so the last thing that I did, or Saturday night, the last thing that I did on Saturday night was a live stream of a concert. So the settings on here are all different for a concert, because you have you're not interfacing with anybody else from like essentially like what everybody thinks of as a Zoom call. You're not teleconferencing like we are right now.
Yeah.
So you take off the audio processing and the echo cancellation and all of that stuff that's on the program to make it so that you and I don't bleed over each other and audio wise. And
this is why you do what you do, because I don't understand.
Yeah, so then so that's how my morning's going. I've already made a couple of videos. I've already put together a couple proposals for other things, and forgot completely that I had an audio mixer next to me that I needed to turn on, and did that while the intro was happening.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. Well, you texted me this morning and I had to run out and get coffee because, as you know, anytime I do this show and every other morning, I have to have coffee.
Yes.
2 cups a day. I don't know what it is. It's probably habit, but yeah, I love coffee. So I'm kind of stuck on that. And other than that, it's good. I am thankful and blessed. So I was just sitting here in the intro thinking about what are 3 things that I can have a gratitude attack around.
A gratitude attack?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but I love it.
All right. Well, let's do it. I'm gonna shut off my sound here so I don't have those little buttons going. Okay. So gratitude attack. 3 things that you're grateful for. There is a little feedback on my voice, right? I hear it.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, cool. So what do you got?
Oh, thank you for making me go first.
I gave you a little time.
Yeah. So you introduced this idea 30 seconds ago.
You know what? I know that you're always thinking about this stuff. So
sure.
All right. I'll go first. I'll do 1, then you do 1, then we'll take turns.
All right, let's go.
All right. So for me, I have to say my yard and my home, I'm really grateful for. Last year I was in a beautiful apartment, but in an apartment nonetheless. And I was really wanting to just have coffee and walk out the door and sit outside. And now I have this little postage stamp yard that I'm power washing the fence and planting grass and herbs and just being in my space. And yesterday was my birthday.
What? How did I not know this?
It's okay. I don't post it on Facebook. So
happy birthday, Lori.
Thank you. See, if it's not posted on Facebook, it didn't happen.
There you go.
That's why we do social media. Make sure everybody knows what they need to know.
Yes.
So I was sitting out in the yard last night and I look over Narragansett Bay on Stillhouse Cove in Edgewood, and it was so serene and so quiet and so beautiful. It was just, it felt like home. And you know that I have been back, I've been in Florida since February. I got home a couple weeks ago. It just really felt great. So I'm going to count that as all three.
Okay.
All right. So
Sure.
home, beautiful outdoor yard space, and beautiful view, and being grateful for the feeling of being grounded.
Well, I love those. I love those a lot. Um, so let's see. My first one, I'm gonna start small. My first one this morning is air conditioning.
Mm.
We decided that we needed a couple new air conditioners this year. For various reasons. We moved in the middle of summer last year, and some window sizes were different and whatever. So we decided to get new air conditioners this year, and they both that we got new came with their own issues. So we didn't have them open, and then my room and office were horribly miserable the last like week.
Yeah.
And but I did have an overhead fan, and it spins a lot, and then that like messes with my anxiety for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it does. The and So I'm very happy to have the air conditioning in, and I'm grateful for that. And yeah, so that's a small one.
I ran to Ocean State Job Lot yesterday and bought an air conditioner because we don't have any, but I didn't sleep the night before.
Yeah, that's it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Number two, I am grateful for being able to go out on walks in the morning and in the evening occasionally, but specifically the morning walk. There is something that is special and invigorating and energizing to immediately in the morning walk out the door and leave your house to get in a little bit of exercise, to get your blood flowing, your endorphins going, to think about the day ahead, the day that just passed, whatever's been on your mind, sort things out in your head, have a little bit of anxiety halfway through, and then deal with it, and then realize you've overcome something in the day. Like everything about it sort of wonderfully resets me, and so I'm very grateful for those.
I have a friend that wakes up with anxiety, and he just up and out on the jog immediately.
Yeah.
Just half an hour, 20 minutes, just to go through exactly that process, just to like, here's the reset button and I'm good to go.
Yeah. And then third is I'm really grateful for collaboration and collaborators. I was talking to my best friend yesterday or the day before, and I was like,
is that Dave or Allie?
That's Dave. They're both, yeah. But I was talking to Dave a couple days ago, and I was like, I love collaboration. I feed off of collaboration. I want to I always want to do stuff, and I always want to do stuff with people because I get excited about executing on other people's ideas, finding ways that they can execute on their, you know what I mean? Like I love collaboration, and that's been a lot of fun. And I have a friend that I've never met in person, but we've got to know each other through Clubhouse and interviews and stuff like that. And not even necessarily working together with these people, but having the conversations with them about things, is really nice. Like he sent me a message and asked me a simple question, and then I went off for about 20 minutes different things off of the top of my head, like new businesses I'd like to
Uh,
build, different things that I'd like to do. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And some of those things I think would be great opportunities for him. Some of those things I think would be great opportunities for other people that I know, or communities in general. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like that stuff, collaboration brings me out of anxiety more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's
very grateful for collaboration.
that's really cool. Yeah. Well, it's almost like your career is about collaboration. You know, I was thinking this morning that since I'm interviewing you today, I was
Apparently you are. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I
Thanks.
mean, you're up for it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, I mean, one of the reasons I was thinking about this was because I know that there are a number of things that you do. And someone said to me yesterday, I really want to understand what you do to me because, you know, we do the marketing and I do coaching and we are developing Shop Local Rhode Island Marketplace and we have the directory. So I know that collaboration for me is a big deal too. So I started to think about all the different ways that you are executive producer for these different shows, you know, like at the drive-in or the music and the work you do for the governor of Rhode Island and our show. So I was thinking it might be fun to kind of organize and talk about like what does Ben Barber do?
Too many things.
I sure?
And
So I can coach you on that. Like, is that
too many things and not enough things.
okay?
So, okay,
Because when you say
here's
too many, and you know this is in my book, like too many is, and it means you're doing many things, but the TOO in front of it means that you don't like it.
I do like it. I do like it. There are I'm doing too many things alone.
Okay, better.
There are too many things, like it's time to start looking at this as a team effort, that I should, you know, create more people around as a team to do. But more people than I already have in certain areas. But okay. So here's like a simple rundown
Yeah.
of my week. I produce live shows for the governor of Rhode Island, which is the most impressive sounding thing, but it takes up a very small fraction of my time.
So let me ask you a question on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that. So if someone said, "Oh, I want to have a live show," what does that even mean?
So so it means different things for different people, right? And everything is different for everyone. We started podcasts with coaches and therapists and stuff like that. So those are pretty simple. Those can either be pre-recorded or live. And you can talk about a topic, or you can have interviews, or you can, you know, do all sorts of things. But
That's what we're doing now, right?
exactly, like you and I right now are, it's an interview, but sometimes we talk about topics and sometimes we and so that's like so ridiculously easy and simple, and people are intimidated by it. And also people think that if they're not Joe Rogan, then they're not successful. Like if they're not like a top tier, like internationally known podcast or a show, that it's that it's a failure. And that's insane, because if you're, you know, so if you do an interview based show, then it's fantastic for networking, because say you're a therapist, say you're a lawyer, whatever, you talk to well, I gave one week when you weren't here, I gave an example of a sandwich shop. And what would a sandwich shop do a podcast for? And the answer is you don't have to. Like, it may not make sense for you, but if you're, you know, D'Angelo of Westerly, and I'm going to use them because I don't think that they could do it necessarily because it's a franchise. But
Mhm.
if you're D'Angelo of Westerly and you sponsor the local soccer teams and the local little league teams, and the theater, the children's theater, and all of that, then are you going to make a show about your sandwiches and tell people exactly how you make your steak and cheese? Maybe that might be better for like an Instagram video or a TikTok. But
Yeah.
but if you wanted to build meaningful relationships with everyone in your community, then you could do a show. Then you could do a show where you invite people in, you eat a sandwich with them. The owner or the host or whoever eats a sandwich with this member of the community, this little league coach,
So
this
like
whatever.
the governor could do this, right, on his show.
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, this is something that was actually pitched, not directly to the governor, but it was like I threw it out because I can't help myself. When people say things to me, I'm like, yeah, let's make that happen. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like, I think that everything that people think should exist should exist.
Yeah.
My friend who is an arts administrator has in their show, in their live show, I don't know if I told you this, in their live show, they have a clip of then Lieutenant Governor Dan
Yeah.
McKee eating a sandwich with them, having lunch during like a big arts conference that happened in Westerly. And he was like, listen, I think we should have a show called Grinders with the Gov, where he and I go to a different sandwich shop in every town and talk about and have a sandwich and talk about
Grinders with
the
the
art.
Gov.
What's that?
Is that like Grinders with the Gov?
Yeah.
Hashtag Grinders with
Yes.
the Gov, like a Saturday.
And talk about their like their art scene and what we can do to like revitalize it and help them and their organizations that are in there and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a fun idea. I'm going to send that idea to his policy advisor. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm just going to do it. The chances of it happening are very slim. But, and she, who is great, was like, honestly, it's a great cause and would be a wonderful excuse for him to have lunch.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea. And those little things, right? Like if you're
I think it should be called Grinders with an A.
But those are the things that like people tell me and I'm like, let's actually do it.
I know it could
that's the fun. There's a place called 10 Sandwiches in Watch Hill. And I don't know why I'm talking about sandwiches so much. I do like sandwiches, obviously, but
I love sandwiches.
there was a there's a place called 10 Sandwiches. It's amazing. It's in Watch Hill, by the Ocean House, and Dave jokingly said, like, you should do a summer series called 10 Questions with 10 Sandwiches, and eat a different sandwich. Have 10 episodes with one person in each episode, and you eat one sandwich, and you base the sandwich off of the person that you're. And I was like, that's great. I should contact 10 Sandwiches. And
I was going to say, this
like,
is why
do that. Why are you doing that? We don't need to do that.
You
should try it though, because it sounds fun.
God. I'm almost thinking like, I wonder if we can get someone on my team to go to 10 Sandwiches and pitch it and see if we can make this happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you. Why not? But
these are the things.
Question.
Yeah.
I'm thinking someone is going to hire you, right? And they're going to say, okay, here, I'm going to hire you right now. Okay. So I'm going to say, hey, Ben.
Hi, Lori.
How you doing? I work for the governor and I am wondering about doing some live shows. Like, what do I need to think about so that I can have you be executive producer of this new show that I want to do?
Sure. So you want to think about when you want to do it, how often you want to do it, what the style of the show is going to be, and it doesn't have to be the same every week, but what the style of the show is going to be.
How do I learn about styles? Like what?
So we will have a conversation about it. Like,
Oh.
so the first thing that I would say to you is, what is your goal, right? So and goals change over time. So like for the governor, we do community conversations right now. And community conversations was him talking to a small group or a small panel about a specific thing, sometimes a one-on-one interview, right? When he was lieutenant governor, that's what community conversations was. It was a panel show. He would bring on like people from the nursing home associations, and they would talk about elder care. And that was a great, and it was a panel, and that's what it looked like, and it was about an hour, and and that was great. For the town hall, which is the other show that the lieutenant governor's office still does, the objective is to create direct communication between people who need help and the government agencies in Rhode Island that can answer their questions. So that show looks like the lieutenant governor leading off and then bringing on a guest. That guest happens to be, the director of the Department of Labor and Training. He gives a little bit of an example of what's happening with unemployment and work share and fraud claims and whatever, and then we open it up to questions. So whatever
more like interactive to the external.
Exactly.
So you can do like an interactive with the external. Like right now, we are external. People can interact with us, or the community conversation can be more of an internal conversation where we're all, you and I are talking together. So right now we're doing a little bit of both.
So exactly. So right now, the Rhode Island 2030 community conversations are panel discussions that have a keynote in the middle of them. And the goal is that there's this federal money that came in, and it's meant to stimulate Rhode Island's economy, and they want to stimulate the economy in the near term and do those things, as pandemic relief. And they want to say, how do we best use this money to set up as many aspects of Rhode Island that can be beneficial to that as possible. And his thesis was, instead of getting a small focus group, let's make this public and have the conversations in front of people and involved people. So the first one was on economic recovery, and they had somebody give a presentation on that, and then they had members of the General Assembly and big business and CEOs.
I watched them. I think they're amazing. And then the housing guy was
housing, and then healthcare was the last one, and they the heads of all the major hospitals, and and higher education. So those are wonderful, beautiful things, and people have the opportunity to ask policy questions and get their questions answered, and that's the format of that show. Now, a life coach would not have that, right? So a life coach, there's basically, so it's who you are and what you do. If you're a life coach, you basically have three formats that you can choose from. You can do a subject-based show where you talk about, and there's an endless amount of subjects. As you just wrote a book on this. So, say you do one episode on taking the leap. So you decide to do a show on taking the leap. You do that show, you think about what you're going to talk about, however much you need to prepare, and then you do that show. And then next week you decide to do one on self-esteem, and you talk about that. And you talk about it, and if it's a live show, you can take questions and answers about that topic. You can do a Q&A based show specifically if you have an audience where you can take their questions and answer their questions directly, and it doesn't have to be about any one subject. So, and then you can do an interview based show where you talk to people about their struggles, about how they overcome their struggles, about how they help other people overcome their struggles. So those are like the three. That's what I would say if you were a life coach or a therapist or something coming to me. If you were a government official coming to me, I'd say, what are the policies you're trying to get out
Right.
there? The
Yeah.
goal, like
Yeah.
what is the goal of your thing, and then how do we achieve that goal in the most succinct way possible?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, all right. So if I'm a company like let's just say GTech. They're not even called GTech anymore. It's IGT. So I know that Indemar Media, and you've done work with them. So they often have some of like their executives that want to produce internal communications, and they want to be like not in this interactive way. And so they would call you. Let me give you a call. Hey, Ben. This is so dorky, but
hey,
hi. I just wanted to talk. Wait, was that a clicker or was that really a phone?
no, it's really a phone.
And all right, so our CEO needs to do some special messaging internally. So how would we go about working with you on that?
Sure. So a year ago, over a year, March 2020, there's a serial entrepreneur, social media expert named Gary Vaynerchuk, who is very famous for live streams, Q&As, all sorts of, the Ask Gary V show. He's a 5-time best-selling author for the New York Times best-selling author. He wanted to go live with a show every morning during the beginning of the pandemic called Tea with Gary V, 9 a.m. He answers questions, they bring people on, etc. I watched the first couple episodes of it. I found his producer. I DM'd him on Instagram and I said, hey, I have a couple. I do Zoom all the time with my podcast hosts, and these are some tips for how to make the audio better. And he said, thank you. And then a week later, I found StreamYard, and I learned StreamYard, and I perfected StreamYard pretty quickly, perfected it. And I immediately was like, hey, this is this is it. You need to go to this platform.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I'll look at it. And I was like, no, you need to. And then I built like the business over breakfast stuff you see around here.
Yeah.
I built like a cheesy version of what that might look like. Yeah. And I took a video and I sent it to him, and I was like, this is how this works. This is why it would be perfect for you. And he was like, okay, can you show me how to do it? And then I taught him how to do it. And a week later, they were on StreamYard for Tea with Gary V. It was widely successful. Millions of people watched. And they got like people like Matthew McConaughey and stuff on there. And it was very cool. I was very proud of myself that nobody knew, but like I was very proud of myself that I helped make that happen. A year later, I'm on Clubhouse and I become friends with someone who is on the creative team at VaynerMedia, the company that Gary is the CEO of. And we were having a conversation one night, and I explained to him what that was, and I was trying to explain to him what StreamYard is, and he was like, oh, like the 137 thing that he does every day. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, oh, that's an internal thing. So then I found another friend who works there's Instagram story, and I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to him, and I was like, is this what you're talking about? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, perfect. So the CEO of this 1,300 person company, worldwide company, goes live on StreamYard for internal for internal communication. I've never worked in that environment, so I don't know what but to talk to the team, to answer questions for the team, all of that stuff, they do it internally on this platform that we're on right now every day, or almost every day, to create that sort of thing. So it's entirely possible, and I know that I've never had that opportunity to do that for a CEO of a large corporation, but we could very easily make an unlisted YouTube link, send this to them. You can send it out to all of your employees. They can interact live.
So this is why I wanted to interview you, because I feel like you don't do too many things. You do too many things alone. And I think that it's really important for people to understand a lot of what this collaboration is about. So, like, from a marketing perspective, I would say to you as executive producer, like, that whole thing that you sent to Gary Vee should be a blog, and you're too busy to write a blog, but we could write a blog for you if you just tell us about it, and we will put this onto our website and it will become a blog. So if you're interested in this kind of information, you're going to be able to read about what an executive producer can do for an organization. And this is part of, like, we see you. I see you all the time. You're on this, you're doing it, but I don't think people understand exactly what the thinking is that goes into it. Just like, hey, I want to be out there. But if you can think about exactly what it is you're doing as an organization, then it would be great to just say, okay, I'm not the expert on that. I'm going to hire the expert on that and make my life easier. I have to, all right, we're going to end with this one funny story about a CEO. So this is pretty bad. I was head of communications for a Fortune 500, and we used internal video type systems for those types of communications. And right now I have a nice camera that isn't set up today, but right now my computer is on top of a box, so I can just look at you straight on instead of looking down. Like, we see that a lot now with Zoom, right? You're just looking up someone's nose. So I have a script, and the CEO is on the computer and it's up on a box. So he's looking at people and really, like, being like, I'm a CEO, I'm talking to my people. And so in the middle of the presentation, he looks over and he goes, so why is my computer on a box? I'm just like, and all I could think of was, nobody wants to look up your nose, is what we say. And it's live, and everyone just like, oh my God. But those little back end things that make people look good and sound good and feel good when they need to be in their unique voice, they're also super important. And so I'm just going to say thanks, Ben, for making life easy for so many people. And really, you're supporting the governor of the state of Rhode Island. We're building Rhode Island. We're building back better. And I think it's important for our audience, whatever that may be, to really understand that if they want to get their communications out, then working with Ben and working with an executive producer is so hugely important. It just makes life easy. I run out and get coffee, and I sit here and I say, like, hey, what's up?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So to quickly run that down, I currently do some work for the governor, some work for the lieutenant governor, Visual Thrive. The Small Business Coalition does their thing now. I do marketing work for Misquamicut Beach, and for a Kia dealership in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
I do a bunch of church work for keeping those communities together with Christ Church Westerly, Mystic Congregational Church, and Watch Hill Chapel all at the same time. And then RI Elder Info, Course of Westerly, and then 5 or 6 podcast hosts. And I'm missing people. The Alzheimer's Association of Rhode Island. I'm missing people, but there's a lot of, like, stuff. Yeah. So whatever your organization is, and I'm not the answer for everybody, but whatever your organization is, like we can always find an answer for you. And that's the thing, like what I was talking about being grateful for earlier. That's the thing that drives me. Like I love finding the answers for people, and there's been a lot of like real estate agents and special events, and summer is full of special events for me.
Yeah.
With this stuff, and even now that like people are going back out,
Yeah.
there are still things that people want a virtual aspect of, or they want the live before the event
Mhm.
to maximize attention around it and use it as a marketing tool. And
There's so many ways. Yeah.
there's so many things, and there's so much possibility, and I'm honestly a little overwhelmed by everything. Yesterday I had to go to my first in-person meeting since October, so we could scope out stuff at the Guard Theater in New London. And that was awesome, but it was really funny. The person in charge of the Guard, while we were there, we were talking about other things that we can do. Melissa Etheridge is coming in a couple months, and we were talking about interviewing her and whatever. And she was like, do you have a business card with you? And I was like, I don't have any business cards. I don't have any business cards.
Call a marketing agency. Do you know any?
I don't know any.
Oh, you're such a
jerk. So I was like,
all right.
I was like, no, I don't have any business cards. I haven't seen anyone in a year and a half. I don't have any business cards on me.
I know. I actually don't have business cards either, but now is the time.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, Lori. Next week, will that be time to talk about this thing, the marketplace? When are we talking about it? I know the countdown is on.
The countdown is on. It really is on. And I have just cleared my calendar for the next 5 days to make sure that this thing is done and ready. And it is a bear. Holy crap. It's, yeah. Yep. That's all I can say. It's coming. It's on its way. And we are working very, very, very hard to make it come to life.
I know that it's going to be amazing, and I listened to a podcast this morning with Gary Vaynerchuk, who I talked about earlier, and he just released a gigantic NFT project that made like $32 million in the first like 5 days, but they had to like postpone it for a week because they were like all hands on deck from February to May. And he was like, the last thing that I wanted to do was say, hey guys, sorry, the tech isn't ready. We're pushing it back a couple days. Like that sucks. You don't want to do that. But if the end result is good, nobody cared. Like no one talked about the fact that the first hour was clunky now. You know what I mean? And I think take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time. Don't worry about it.
We ended our team meeting with, this is normal. This is expected. We got to get it right. We don't want, so we're getting it right.
You're creating something. You're creating something that that
it's
hopefully should have a lasting legacy in the state of a virtual online marketplace for everyone in Rhode Island to give local brick and mortar stores a chance to compete at a different level. Like you're building something that's great, so don't stress about taking a couple extra days to make it right.
No, but right. So probably, we're in a countdown. That's all I can say. And that countdown could be 7, 10, 12. I don't know what it is right now, but we're close.
I love it. I love it. Until then, there's still a ton of stuff to find on shoplocalrhodeisland.com. Yes. And if you need marketing help like I do for yourself, I'm great at helping other people with marketing.
Call me.
Great at doing marketing for other people, but I don't like to do stuff for myself. Check out visualthrive.com. Thanks, Lori. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thank you. You too, Ben. See
Bye.
you.